Hi everyone, this is Tasha for AsianCultureVulture.com. I'm at the London Indian Film Festival. I'm with Chandrasekhar Reddy, who has directed a film called Fireflies in the Abyss. Chandrasekhar, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to start initially by you explaining what Fireflies in the Abyss is about.
Fireflies in the Abyss is about an 11-year-old boy who works in a coal mine. These coal mines are in the northeast of India, in Meghalaya. And they're called rat hole coal mines. And they're literally rat holes because they're no taller than 3 feet. And it requires children to work in those mines. Yeah.
And where did the idea come about? At what point did you think, I want to make a film about this?
Well, it happened, it wasn't intended. I didn't know I was going to make it till I actually turned up in Meghalaya, because I'd gone there to research for another film. Okay. And it was meant to be a film on sacred forests. For the National Geographic and Discovery and so on, with a production house here in Bristol. And so we were developing that film, and as part of the research and developing that film, I went to Meghalaya. And once I went there, I discovered that there were not much sacred forests remaining, but it was this rampant coal mining that had started. And so I found that really fascinating, because it was like a frontier boomtown kind of dynamics. Immigrant labor, a cash economy. I didn't initially know that children were working in the mines, but there was just so much going on there that I said there's got to be some interesting material to make a film there. So I stayed back a week and then discovered that there were children working there, and that was a very interesting entry into all of the things that were happening there. And so initially I spent time with 3 kids who were friends, shot teaser material to raise funds, and that's how it began, and one thing led to another. I spent 9 months trying to raise funds. Nothing came forth, and in the meantime there was there was news that got out that children were working in the mines. The police were forced to act on it. There was a clamp down on them, and some press people who'd gone there were beaten up. So I figured that I should go there and start working on it before it was too late and lost access. Camera, and that's how I landed up there and began shooting the film that is Fireflies in the Abyss now.
And when you first started shooting that film, did you have an aim or film?
Well, honestly, there wasn't. I mean, I couldn't plan because, one, it's illegal mining. So I at no point had any idea how long I'd have access to it. The other thing was because people are moving around all the time. You really don't know how long you have access to a particular story or a particular set of people. So eventually, what you see in the film is what happened across 6 months, but it was one day at a time, because at any point somebody could have come and said, you're not shooting here, get lost, and that would have been the end of that. So it was one day at a time for 6 months, and I was really fortunate to have whatever did happen, and having access to it for all that time.
Yeah, so you mentioned it was illegal mining, so how did you get that access into filming?
So before this story with the boy happened, there were several situations that actually fell through, where I was sometimes told very politely that, if you're concerned for your own safety, you should leave. And some places I was told, just leave tomorrow or else. So there were several situations that fell through before I found this 11-year-old boy, and I started shooting with him, not knowing again how long I'd have access to it. And things unfolded, and I continued to have access to that story. It was all on incognito. I had no permissions for any of it. It was a single-man crew by default. I mean, initially, of course, because I didn't have the budgets to have a crew. But in retrospect, I think that's the only way the film could have happened. Because if I had a crew, it would have attracted too much attention, and then, and I would have just lost access. Yeah. So yeah, I shot it myself. I did the sound myself, and I lived with them in the mining camp, and that was the only way it could have happened. Yeah.
And have the children who were in the film seen the film, and what was their reaction to it?
So Suraj has seen it, and he saw it, I think, a year after I'd shot it, and I had a sort of rough cut of the film. So he doesn't get the context of the story, but he looks on it as a kind of a photo album of a certain period in his own life, because he's grown a lot in the 2 years that passed. He'd grown and things had changed a lot for him. But he looks on it as a, like I said, a photo album. And a lot of the people in the film, he's not in touch with himself.
Oh, wow.
So for him, it's just a period in time that he looks back at.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you lots of luck for your upcoming projects, and thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you very much.